3 months into dating, Brianna was already living at Ethan's place. No conversation, no decision, just her clothes appearing in his closet. Her perfume lingered in every corner like a silent takeover. She said it was temporary, just until she saved enough for her business. But that business existed only in her imagination. Every morning, she sipped coffee and scrolled online boutiques. Her work calls were gossip sessions and brunch planning. Ethan paid for everything because it felt easier than fighting. He told himself love meant support. He told himself she'd find her direction soon. But every credit card statement said otherwise. Designer shoes, skincare, endless shopping for her future brand. Her words were dreams, her actions were debts. When he mentioned budgets, she smiled sweetly and kissed his cheek. "You're just stressed," she'd say. "I'll pay you back someday." Someday never came. Friday nights were supposed to be theirs. Dinner reservations, movie plans, moments to reconnect. But Brianna was always late or canceling. 1 hour before dinner, a text would arrive. "Emma's having a meltdown. She needs me tonight." Or, "My yoga class added a special session. It's super important." Every time, Ethan nodded and said it was fine. But the disappointment built like dust in the corners. He sat alone in restaurants, pretending to check work emails. He became an expert at looking occupied while being forgotten. His friends noticed before he did. "Man, she never comes out with us," Jake said one night. Ethan laughed it off, pretending everything was fine. He didn't want to admit he was losing her to her own reflection. Brianna's world revolved around social events and Instagram stories. Every photo was curated perfection. Every caption screamed independence. But none of it was real. Behind the filters was a woman living on someone else's dime. And behind the smiles was a man quietly running out of patience. He started noticing the pattern. Every apology came with coffee and pastries. Every promise to do better faded within a week. The cycle repeated, predictable as sunrise. She'd vanish on Friday, return Saturday morning with fake guilt. "I'm sorry, babe, you know how things get," she'd whisper. Her tone was sweet, but her eyes said she'd do it again. Ethan began to measure their relationship in cancellations. The fewer plans they made, the less he was disappointed. Still, he clung to hope. He wanted to believe the girl he met was still somewhere inside. The one who laughed at his jokes and asked about his dreams. But she was gone, replaced by someone who only showed up when convenient. He realized love shouldn't feel like waiting for someone to remember you exist. The truth crept in quietly, between unanswered texts and empty Fridays. He wasn't building a life with her. He was funding one she didn't even value. And deep down, he knew it was only a matter of time before he stopped pretending. Their 18-month anniversary was supposed to be special. Ethan booked a table at one of Chicago's top restaurants weeks in advance. He even ordered a tasting menu Brianna had raved about online. He wore the shirt she'd gifted him months earlier with his own credit card. Everything was ready by 7. The candles, the music, the reservation, perfect. Except she wasn't there. He checked his phone, refreshed the messages again and again. No calls, no texts. The waiter asked politely if he wanted to wait. He smiled and said yes, pretending to be confident. 15 minutes turned into an hour. At 8, he sent a casual text. "Here at the table, can't wait to see you." No reply. He called. Straight to voicemail. The restaurant filled with laughter from other couples. He felt invisible under the warm light. The waiter refilled his water with quiet sympathy. At 8:30, Ethan ordered dinner for one. If he had to be alone, he might as well eat well. Each bite tasted like disappointment disguised as steak. He stared at the empty chair across from him. He imagined her laughing somewhere else, forgetting this night existed. By 9, he paid the $400 bill without a word. He tipped extra, thanked the staff, and walked out into the cold night. His reflection in the window looked like a stranger. No anger, no tears, just quiet exhaustion. He drove home without music, the city lights blurring past. When his phone finally buzzed after midnight, his chest tightened. Babe, party got wild. We ended up at this amazing dessert place. So crazy, lost track of time, grinning face with sweat. Dinner tomorrow instead. He stared at the message, numb. No apology, no awareness of what she'd done. Only laughter and excuses. For the first time, he didn't argue. Didn't type a paragraph explaining how much that hurt. Just 2 words. No worries. He hit send and put his phone face down. Minutes later, another text arrived. You're not mad. You're usually so dramatic about this stuff. Her words stung like a slap. He realized she saw his feelings as noise, not meaning. That night, he didn't sleep. He replayed every moment of their relationship in his head. The patterns, the cancellations, the one-sided effort. Everything pointed to the same truth. He was never a priority, just a placeholder between her plans. The next morning, the sunlight felt different. Clearer, colder, sharper. Something inside him had shifted. When she knocked on his door later with coffee, and that guilty smile. He looked at her and saw through every practiced gesture. She tried to joke, to charm, to fix it with sweetness. But he wasn't angry anymore. He was done. Done waiting, done forgiving, done being the easy option. And though she didn't know it yet, that dinner she missed was the night she lost him for good. Brianna showed up the next morning like nothing had happened. Her hair perfect, her smile polished, holding 2 overpriced coffees. She walked in without asking, the way people do when they think they own the place. Baby, I'm so sorry about last night, she said, setting the cups on the counter. There was drama at the party. You know how my friends are. Ethan nodded, silent, his face unreadable. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't argue. He just said, it's fine, Bri, really. She blinked, confused. No reaction meant no control. Wait, you're not mad. You're acting weird. He smiled faintly. I just think we should stop doing Friday date nights. She laughed, thinking it was a joke. Stop, why would we stop? They're clearly too stressful for you, he said quietly. Her laughter faded. She stared at him like she was seeing a stranger. This isn't about one missed dinner, she said defensively. I have a life, Ethan. I can't drop everything for you. I know, he replied. That's why I'm making it easier for you. The calm in his voice scared her more than any fight could. She started to talk, but he interrupted gently. Can I see your calendar? What? Your phone calendar. You're always saying you're so busy. Reluctantly, she handed it over. Ethan scrolled through the rainbow of events. Brunches, yoga, birthdays, shopping trips. Every day filled with something, except time for him. Not a single reminder, not even their anniversary. He handed the phone back without a word. Her face went pale. What? She asked, trying to sound casual. Nothing, he said softly. Just interesting. That word echoed in her head long after she left. Interesting. That afternoon, Ethan sat alone in the quiet apartment. He stared at the empty coffee cups and realized how symbolic they were. Sweet on the surface, empty inside. He opened his laptop and started searching. MMA classes near me. He called his friend Jake, who had mentioned a training gym downtown. Think I'm ready to try something new, he said. Good, Jake replied. Time to hit back at life. Ethan signed up on the spot. Then he called an old college buddy who ran a consulting business. Still need part-time help with client work. Always, his friend laughed. Within an hour, Ethan had filled his week. No more waiting for canceled plans. No more sitting by the phone. He opened his Google Calendar, deleted every date night entry. In their place, He wrote training non-negotiable. Red, bold, unmovable. That simple act felt revolutionary. For the first time in years, his schedule belonged only to him. When Brianna texted that evening, "Dinner tonight, I miss you," he typed back, "Can't at the gym." No anger, no sarcasm, just truth. And with that message, Ethan took the first real swing of his new life. The first week at the gym nearly broke him. Every muscle burned, every breath felt like fire. But the pain was clean, honest, and real. For once, he was fighting for himself instead of a relationship. He learned how to throw punches, take hits, and stay grounded. The discipline felt like therapy in motion. Each drop of sweat washed away another piece of resentment. He came home exhausted, but peaceful. His phone buzzed endlessly. Brianna texting, calling, sending voice notes. "Why are you suddenly so distant? What's going on with you?" He ignored them all. She didn't understand that silence was his healing. Days turned into weeks. His body hardened, his focus sharpened. He started sleeping better, eating better, living better. Saturday mornings, that once belonged to her apologies, were now for long runs and coffee with new friends. Jake introduced him to people who chased progress, not drama. They talked about business, investments, personal growth. Conversations that built, not drained. Meanwhile, Brianna's curiosity turned to panic. She began showing up uninvited, waiting by his car after workouts. "Ethan, this isn't you," she said one morning. "You hate gyms, you hate sweating." "I guess I changed," he answered simply. "Changed into what?" she snapped. "Someone who doesn't need me." He didn't respond. The truth was too obvious to explain. Inside his apartment, everything looked different. Weights in the corner, books about finance and real estate on the table. Her old makeup kits and clothes were gone. He'd reclaimed his space and his identity. Brianna stood in silence, looking around like she didn't recognize the place. "You're different," she whispered finally. "Good," he said. "That was the point." She tried to touch his arm, but he stepped back. "When did you last ask about my life, Bri? When did you care about anything except what I could give you?" Her lips parted, but no words came. He smiled, not cruelly, but with finality. "I'm done being your backup plan." That night, he went to dinner with a group from the gym. They laughed easily, no tension, no tests. A woman named Lauren sat across from him, confident and kind. She asked questions that weren't about money or status. For the first time in years, Ethan felt seen instead of used. He walked home through the crisp air, phone silent in his pocket. He knew Brianna would call again. But her voice no longer had power. Every moment spent training, working, and rebuilding was proof that he was no longer waiting for someone to choose him. He'd already chosen himself. And that decision changed everything. Months passed, and Ethan's world expanded in every direction. He earned a promotion, gained strength, and built a solid side income. Every morning began with focus, not frustration. His days were full, his nights peaceful. He had purpose again, and Brianna hated it. She watched from the sidelines, desperate for attention. Her Instagram was a mix of throwbacks and fake smiles. She posted old couple photos, pretending they were still together. Captions read, "Miss my favorite person and true love never fades." But Ethan never liked, never commented, never looked twice. Her control was gone, and she could feel it slipping completely. The cracks in her perfect image began to show. Her boutique job cut her hours for performance issues. Spending more time taking selfies than serving customers didn't help. Her income dropped to barely enough for rent. Then her roommate moved out, leaving her with double the bills. The world she built on charm and convenience collapsed fast. Her friends grew tired of her drama and excuses. Calls went unanswered, invites stopped coming. Even the girls who once adored her stopped defending her. One night, Ethan's phone lit up with her name. He hesitated, then answered. Her voice trembled, smaller than he remembered. Ethan, I really need your help. He stayed quiet, listening. I can't pay rent next month. I'm trying, but it's impossible. She took a shaky breath. Can I stay with you for a while? Just until I get back on my feet? Ethan exhaled slowly. The old him might have said yes. The man he'd become knew better. That sounds tough, Bri. I'm sorry you're going through that. I'll do better this time, she said quickly. I'll prioritize us. I'll make it work. There is no us, he said gently. We broke up a long time ago. You just never accepted it. Her silence was heavy, desperate. You're seriously seeing someone else, she whispered. Yes, he said. Her name's Lauren, she keeps her promises. Brianna started to cry. The sound was raw but familiar, the same act she'd used before. He didn't flinch this time. You don't love me anymore. I think I loved the version of you I thought existed, he replied. And that version never showed up. Her sobs grew louder. I have no one else, Ethan. Please don't abandon me. He stayed calm, steady. I'm not abandoning you. I'm giving you tools to stand alone. He sent her the number of a financial advisor and a temp agency. That's all I can do, he said quietly. She begged, pleaded, promised change. But he ended the call and blocked her number. For the first time, he felt no guilt, only relief. He knew she'd have to face reality without him. And that was the only real help he could give. 6 months later, Ethan's life looked nothing like before. The quiet man who once waited by the phone had disappeared. He was confident now, grounded and fully alive. His days started early with runs by the lake and black coffee. His evenings were filled with laughter and meaningful plans. Lauren had become his partner in every sense of the word. She was independent, kind, and dependable. She didn't need saving, and that made loving her effortless. They planned trips together, split bills, shared goals. For the first time, Ethan felt what balance truly meant. His consulting work had grown into a full business. Clients trusted him, valued his input, paid him well. His MMA training gave him more than muscle. It gave him peace. Every punch taught him discipline. Every bruise reminded him of growth. He had stopped chasing validation and started building purpose. One evening, while reviewing a real estate deal, his phone buzzed. A mutual friend texted, heard Brianna moved back to Dallas. He paused, then smiled faintly. Apparently, she'd taken a temp job and was living with her parents. She told people he abandoned her when she needed him most. But he knew better. He hadn't abandoned her. He had simply stopped being her crutch. That night, he sat on the balcony watching the city lights. He thought about the man he used to be. The one who mistook tolerance for love, patience for loyalty. That man had to break to rebuild. And in breaking, he had found freedom. Lauren came out with 2 glasses of wine. You okay? She asked softly. He nodded, better than ever. She smiled, leaned against him, and looked at the skyline. I can't believe how far you've come, she whispered. Me neither, he said. I almost forgot what peace feels like. He glanced at his calendar on his phone. It was full, training, client meetings, weekend hikes, dinner dates. Every block of time represented something chosen, not endured. No empty spaces, waiting for someone who never shows up. Weeks later, he ran into one of Brianna's old friends at a cafe. She mentioned Brianna was seeing someone new. Nice guy, she said. Pays for everything already. Ethan laughed quietly, not out of spite but understanding. Some lessons repeat until they're learned. And some people never study. He wished her well, sincerely. Then he finished his coffee, stood, and walked out into the sun. The air felt lighter, his steps firmer. He no longer needed closure, forgiveness, or explanation. He had written his own ending. When you stop being someone's backup plan, You become the main character of your story. And Ethan was finally living his. Months later, Ethan's life was quiet in all the right ways. No drama, no guessing, no walking on emotional glass. He woke up each morning, knowing exactly who he was. The man who once waited for texts now set his own pace. The silence that once felt heavy now sounded like peace. He no longer chased people to prove his worth. He built value by showing up for himself every day. Brianna became a lesson, not a loss. She taught him what self-respect costs and what freedom feels like. Lauren became proof that love can exist without control. Partnership wasn't sacrifice anymore, it was choice. He realized that sometimes closure doesn't come from conversation. It comes from finally being okay without answers. When he looked at his reflection now, he didn't see the man she left. He saw the man he became because she did. The world hadn't changed, but his perspective had. He smiled to himself, calm and certain. When you stop being someone's safety net, you find the strength to stand on your own. And that strength, he knew now, was love in its purest form.